Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Antimatter Chemistry. I don't want to be spending all of my days nomming on these baked potatoes, so we're gonna sort that out today. I do not want to use a machine that's going to harvest wheat that is planted on dirt. I want to use the phytogenic insulator to directly grow wood and crops and all of that good stuff so we can automatically create food. And I think a tree farm is a thing that we might need before we do the food farming, because we are going to need to automate flux phytogrow, which I think requires sawdust and a whole bunch of other things, but we'll get there. We need to progress a little bit here more in the quests. Mainly we need cyan antimatter, which is made with barium. And that is made by dissolving nether quartz, mostly. So we're just going to toss in a stack of this, and we should get ourselves a stack of barium here fairly quickly. There we go. And I'm just going to make 8 stacks of cyan antimatter. If we look here, I mined a whole bunch of white antimatter so we can get that all processed. I'm just going to grab all of this silicon dioxide out because this is making a whole ton of it. Which is okay. I think we're going to need a bunch of silicon dioxide in the future, so that is all good with me. And we can then just toss this and this through here, and it's going to get it processed. I made a couple iron chests, so they're both split into 2 different hoppers. And also on the bottom here, we have reinforced servos with some item ducts extracting the items out, which is making more barium as well, which needs a spot possibly. I really need to make, you know what we're going to do? I have gold nuggets, I have that. Okay, so keys. That has been long needed. So one of you, and I'm actually gonna make another one. And then we need a quantify key, which needs a feather. Can I even make a feather if it's probably just protein, right? Yeah, of course it is. Okay, combiner. Feather. Make me, oh, that made a couple feathers. There we go, okay. And then I need an ink sac or something, book and quill, or some sort of black dye. Pulverized charcoal works. Do I have any more charcoal? I do not. I have it in here. I did set up this in between episodes, I believe, that I didn't show. Let's get like a couple. But basically it's all our wood. It gets extracted into the top. Out of the bottom comes the charcoal. Out of here comes more fuel. And then we just basically loop the charcoal around. So that has been running these furnace generators. So we have our applied logistics system up and running. I also made a quartz grindstone, which in turn allows us to crush stuff for free. We're going to make a pulverizer fairly quickly here, probably. But basically this just allows me to hold down right click, and then we get pulverized charcoal, which can be used as dye. So we can now make ourselves a book and quill. If we make ourselves a book, we need to make, oh, we can make books with this. How much string do I have? A couple. Okay, so let's grab a couple of you, and then sugarcane. Can you make me like a stack of paper? Sugarcane, please. Of course, it has to be this way. Okay, thank you very much. Nah, book. Nah, the other book. All of the crafting mishaps that happen. Okay, book and quill, we did it. We magically did it. Right, so now we can lock our drawers, and this one as well, and then quantify. Cool. So we can see how many of each of the things we have, which is much cleaner to see. And we can toss our keys in here because we're going to be using them a lot as well. I also managed to level up our hammer so it's now fully unbreakable. The sword still needs one more modifier, and for that reason, I kind of made this underneath here. I went to the nether, and you can use chest transporters to pick up spawners. So I have 3 blaze spawners right here. And we even got a dimensional loot crate, which we're going to open together. But I had the spawners in the middle there, and I kind of removed them because they constantly spawn blaze. I want to turn them into, what are they called? From extra utilities 2. There is a drop of evil spawner thing that you can do. You can right click it on a spawner, and it makes it into a spawner that you can control with redstone, basically. So let's just open up these loot crates. Toss them in there, and then that. And we can also toss this. We get 2 dimlet parcels. Okay, so that's how we're gonna get some of the stuff for the dimensions. That's neato. All right, I'm gonna toss the charcoal in here. We don't need any more pulverized. Have you processed all of the things? You have, wonderfully. Cool. So now we also got mercury and more barium. Is this really full? Okay. I only have the diamond one, which is fine. There we go. Okay, and we're gonna put in mercury as well. Cool. So in here, we can now make a tin gear. If I process a little bit of tin, I'm just gonna toss you here. And then as soon as we get a stack of this, we can just toss it through this guy. We unlock the recipe and we can get 4 tin ingots. 2, 4. Okay, and I assume that just simply makes the tin gear. Or do we need the... Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. So we can't do gears without the smeltery. Okay, cool. That is noted, duly noted. So we're gonna make a wooden one. I don't know if that makes the correct gear cast, so we're just gonna make a stone gear. And we're gonna come over to the smeltery. We could toss in tin ore directly, but we're just gonna make a cast real quick. And then we can pour ourselves a tin gear. As soon as this is cast. Hello? Molten ingots tin. Ah, I don't know why it didn't work, but it should. Right? So we can make ourselves 1 tin gear. And we also need indium ingots and scandium ingots. So we possibly totally need like 4 gears. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So let me grab like 16 tin. You go in the smeltery. We're gonna make this guy as soon as possible so we can use the compactor to make gears, because making them in the smeltery is horribly annoying. But we can at least turn that on. And in the meantime, we can search for scandium. It's probably SC. Maybe. There you are, scandium. Okay, how many ingots do we need? 4 and 4. Okay, we're gonna make 8, just in case. And then 4 indium ingots. We have, we only have a stack of that. What is, that's diorite to get a 5% chance, or cyan antimatter for a 14% chance. Gotcha. We only got that much from that. That's okay. And this is more tin. Let's just toss you in here. There you go. That's gonna get processed into tin ingots. Simply enough. Right, so scandium, we need to turn those into... Pause. Hold on. Make me the scandium ingots first. These and these. Indium. Okay, and now you can process all my tin. Okay, and now we just need the 14 gears, which are gonna maybe be made in here. This is the last one that we need for the quest, and the next one is 4 machine frames, which are indium, glass, and tin gears, and scandium on the corners as well. I think I have a little bit of glass. Yes, we do. So, machine frame. We can toss these in here. And tin gear. This should make us the last 2 machine frames, like so. And now we unlock to make the compactor, which is probably the first thing that we need. Since our hammer is unbreakable, we can replace it with a cobalt head. And I just want to get the stone hatchet out of the way to make it unbreakable. It's the last reinforcement that we have to do. So I made the patch here a little bit bigger. And I also made some spruce saplings. And we can just grow 1 spruce tree at a time like this. Plant another one. Grow it up. And do that for as many saplings as we have, and then I can just slime sling myself on top, and we can vein mine it downwards, and we can easily get ourselves the 2000 XP that we need. Our axe is now unbreakable. I kind of accidentally added 1 layer of redstone before that, so I had to punish myself by mining 4000 more logs, because it needed to level up 1 more level, which is fine. So all of our tools are now super duper and unbreakable, and we can just level them up in an auto clicker like I said. And as far as food goes, I didn't think to check if there's a chemical combiner recipe for apples, because cooked apples are super good from tiny progressions. They're kind of OP in my opinion, but basically a bit of sucrose and a bit of cellulose, which cellulose can be made from any living plant thing, also wood as well. So we can just toss logs inside of here, I believe. Somewhere there's a recipe. There was 1 log, there you go, to make cellulose, and we can just make a bunch of apples. So I'm gonna get them smelted in a furnace, and then we can nom on those for all of eternity, probably. And we don't really need to tackle a tree farm. I mean, a food farm. At least not for now. Eventually, we can just set up meat because we have the meat feeder from Industrial 4 going, and we can just get ourselves a bunch of liquid meat with the, I think it's the meat, it's the slaughter factory, right? Slaughter factory thing. Mob slaughter factory, that's the one. We can use that to provide us with a bunch of liquid meat so we can then automatically feed ourselves pretty much. The other option that we can do for food is the saturation environmental module, which works in the environmental controller, which is a mouthful to say, but we can use that in our base. And when we go outside of our base in the nether or in the deep dark, we can just have the liquid meat eventually. For now, cooked apples will do. We are going to need a bunch of different ingots if we want to craft up any of the thermal expansion machines, and for that it's kind of neat to set up an ore doubler with the machines that we already have, and I have a neato thing that we can do. I put a lever here, and this guy is set to redstone mode high, and this guy on the bottom is also set to redstone mode high, so when the lever's off we have the ore doubler turned off per se. So if we, let's say, grab a little bit of iron that I have on me, and if we toss it in here, the iron will just get extracted in here into its chemical form into the bottom chest. But if we flip the lever, the iron is not going to get extracted. It's going to go out of here into the chemical combiner, which is then going to extract it out as iron ingots into here. So if we toss this in here, we should see it functioning. The iron is going to go in here, get dissolved. Oh, this makes extra products. Right, I think we can add, yeah, we have a filter of 9. So let's probably just take the iron a little bit here. We'll put it on a whitelist and do that. So that way we only extract the iron in here and get it cooked up into its corresponding bits. And we actually might not need this here on the bottom. I totally didn't think of things making different things. So what we're gonna do is here we're gonna blacklist iron. So we can blacklist anything that we don't wanna go through, and we can then just turn these on all the time. And that way we don't cause an issue, at least for the time being. And I'm gonna just move this guy here so we can see the chest as well. Right, so that should just process the iron, right? And anything else should get pulled into here. Yeah, the tungsten's going. I don't know why it's going super slow. It is a reinforced servo. I don't know, that's okay. It should do its thing, I think. Yeah, oh yeah, it's doing the 2 at a time in the here where they're being produced from the iron ore. That's fine. So eventually we should end up with a bunch of iron ingots in here, and we can process a bunch of ores that way. So for example, for the magnesium, it's gonna just make magnesium, I think. If we look at uses here, yeah, it just makes magnesium, so that shouldn't be an issue. I think currently it might be extracted down here, yeah. So we're gonna add it to the blacklist and also the whitelist. We're gonna add a little bit more functionality to our smeltery. By adding some servos, we can extract the items from here on the top directly into the chest here. It is gonna be a little bit slow because there are just basic servos down there, so it should be fine, but it is slightly slow, which is okay. Because I wanna melt a bunch of tin and a bunch of copper to make a bunch of bronze in here, because we're gonna need a bit of that. And I'm also having trouble extracting like the 4 blocks of invar that we have in here. I'm also gonna pull out this 8 ingots of gold, which we can do simply like that. Does it take, how long does it take? Okay, it's decently fast on when it recognizes the ingot is has been molded. So what we could potentially do is just push out everything as ingots, but as soon as the invar would get processed, it would start extracting the tin because it's slowly making it bronze. So we're just gonna do this manually for the 4 gold ingots. And then we can just pour out blocks directly, I think. I am sure this bronze is gonna get made fast enough, so if we just turn that guy on, it's gonna pour out a full block, and then in the time that it takes for that to pour and to cool, it should make more than 1 extra block. I hope we probably will end up with a little bit of extra blockage or extra ingots in the system, so you know what I might do? We're gonna leave this guy to process, and we're gonna make another casting table. And we can make another ingot cast and then just cast everything out as ingots. We now have 2 ingot casts here on the side, and I also made a redstone clock, so we can turn that on, and it's gonna trigger every so often to basically pour the ingots out. And what we're gonna do actually is we're gonna sneak in a chest underneath here with some speedy hopper 1s, because those are gonna be faster on the extract than the servos are gonna be. So if we flip this again, as soon as it's gonna do the thing, it's gonna do the thing, if that makes sense. I know doing the thing doesn't explain much, but that's okay. So then we're going to add a slow servo here, which is going to extract the ingots from here fairly slowly, but it's going to get them into the corresponding chest here on top so we can access it easily. And we can then just cover everything up with some blocks around it and make it look nice and cool. There we go. So now we have basically an automatic ore doubler as well. So we could toss ores in here and process them with lava, or we could use the whole system over here, which I've been using to double all of our ores that are regularly processed and that we're going to regularly need. I did not process all of our iron because we have a little bit of it in the system. We have 200. It should be good for now. And the ores from nuclear craft, I did not process those because I think we can process those later as we don't need them as of this moment. But I believe I have everything ready to get ourselves a compactor as soon as we make a piston. There we go. Compactor. And then we can get ourselves the gear working die augment. We need another piston. And then we also need a redstone servo. And we're going to need 2 lead plates. Do we need to do... Okay, we can just make them in the compactor. Sure. So we're going to grab a little bit of lead. 2 of these. You need some power, so you're going to go here. And you shouldn't be able to make us 2 lead plates fairly slowly. So in the meantime, we're going to get a kit with the hardened variety. I made a bronze gear specifically for that. We can upgrade you. You're going to be a little bit faster to get us our lead plates, which we can then turn into the gear working die so we can use that guy to make some gears. I'm probably going to make another compactor here because one of them we're going to use for plates and one of them we're going to use for gears. So we probably should start looking at setting up a proper machine room and a proper drawer storage. That could be a thing that we can start working towards because we have access to Certus quartz now, so we can start diving into applied logistics as well to at least get our first storage bus so we can have all of our chemicals in the storage system. That could be a thing that we do fairly soon, I think. So I know I said that we should do the food farm and the tree farm with the phytogenic insulators and all that, but I think that I might have jumped the gun a little bit too much. So we're going to firstly just craft all of these machines. We're going to see if we can start making steel and also an aqueous accumulator as well, so we can start getting water. We need to make a bunch of power to get to the autumn because we need to sacrifice 10 million Fe and 1,000 buckets of water. And then we need to create a scarab so we can go into the autumn portal. And then in the autumn, we need to do a bit more exploration. Then we can get into the deep mob learning and all of that good stuff. We're going to start off next by making a pulverizer here. I'm kind of running out of space on where to put these machines, but it's going to be fine. You are probably going to accept some coal or charcoal or something, so let's just disable you here. I'm going to click this away. I also turned this dirt into grass and I bone mealed it or fertilized it, and we got 1 pink tulip because we need a little bit of this to make... We can actually just crush or pulverizer all of these to get a bunch of red dye too. We need pink dye. And we're going to need to toss that through the chemical dissolver. So I have to finish the iron ore. Wait to finish the iron ore processing here. We're going to grab the sulfur out of here so we can toss it into the storage system. But we are getting a whole ton of iron and a whole bunch of tungsten too. And you're full. You're here. What if we say take these out? And we need to sort out the drawers. Hold on. To make pulverizers, we require potassium ingots, which are made with potassium in the chemical combiner, and the potassium is simply potatoes or baked potatoes, which make the exact same thing, melted or dissolved in the chemical dissolver, and we get a freebie quest here for 100 mob kills. We get a growth crystal tier 2. Which can be used as a water source. So we're just going to toss this guy in here. We're going to hoe the land, and we can grow ourselves some wheat and potatoes here in this farm for the time being. Eventually, we're going to use a phytogenic insulator to generate our potatoes, but this should do for now. I now melted the pink dye that we got from bone mealing the farm. We're also crushing some bones to make more bone meal, and we can turn that with some red dye into more pink dye if needed, and we can just melt this down into arsenic and sulfur as well. So we're gonna toss all of that in here and grab a stack of arsenic, and that makes arsenic ingots in here. So we can grab a couple of those as soon as they come out. There we go. And we can use those to make an induction smelter. Once we make a little bit of lumium, which we need to do how? I guess we can do it in the smeltery alloying. Can we get energized glowstone any other way? Either a nuclear craft melter or a magma crucible. Is magma crucible any difficult? No, it's a simple recipe. Okay, oh, we can even make it right now. Okay, that's cool. So we're gonna grab one bit of glowstone. I think 4 is what we need for a full bucket, because we can then just craft the lumium that way. So let's do this. We're gonna disable you, melt this up. This uses a whole bunch of power, I think, but let's look at the recipes here. 1 glowstone in the magma crucible is gonna make 1 bucket. Okay, so we just need the 1. There we go. And we can let that melt and we can make ourselves a little bit more lumium. While we're waiting, we're gonna complete another quest. We need 2 manganese ingots and also 2 osmium ingots, which I made here. So we can complete this, and then we need to make ourselves an accumulator, which requires a device frame. And I think the thing that we're gonna run out of is sand. So I think we can do 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these. And let's see, sand. Can I make glass directly in the chemical combiner? Is that a thing? No. Okay, that's fine. So boom, boom, and we can then toss 4 of you in here. I'm actually gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make me all of the sand. And it's kind of keeping up. Yeah, it is. Okay, neato. And it's keeping up with the extract, so we're getting a bunch of sand here. We're gonna get it smelted into some glass, and we can use that to create more machines. We can now easily make our device frame, and then the vacuumulator requires a hopper, which isn't going to be a problem. And we also require redstone servo and 2 iron gears, which are just going to be a bit of iron in here. I'm going to toss in a stack to make 16 for us. We also made another little bit of bronze. I also accepted the Pulverizer quest, which gave me 2 hardened upgrade kits, one of which I used on this Pulverizer to upgrade it, and I also added an auxiliary reception coil to make it a little bit faster. We could upgrade the magma crucible, but I'd rather save the hardened upgrade kit for the induction smelter, which we're gonna need to make some steel. But are the gears done? Yes, they are. So we can now make ourselves the vacuumulator. Boom. All right, so we get a wood to iron chest upgrade. Okay, sure. And then we need a drop of evil, and we get a bit of dirt, which I have gotten here. Boom, drop of evil, get a little bit of dirt. So we can make a cursed earth farm, which is probably a thing that we can tackle in the next episode, because we can use a whole bunch of the drops from the mob farm to create power. We could use death generators, we could use ender pearl generators, because I think it's gonna generate endermen as well. We could go potentially to the nether and set up a wither skeleton farm with cursed earth in the Nether Fortress. We can also make a skeleton spawner, because I noticed, I was just looking at spawn eggs, because we got spider spawn eggs in a chest, and I was curious, and then I clicked on the skeleton spawn egg, and you can make it with pyrotheum dust, eggs, and bones. And bones we can get from the nether. We can kill some skeletons, no problem. The pyrotheum dust is just blaze powder and sulfur, which we all have. And then the egg is just made with some protein and some calcium carbonate in the chemical combiner. So we can turn any of our blaze spawners into a skeleton spawners. We can then turn it, when we right click it with a drop of evil, into an extra utility spawner, and we can set up a skeleton spawner in the nether. And eventually we can even get spawn eggs from other things, because we have the capturing enchantment from Apotheosis, which makes mob have a chance to drop their spawn egg. So we could use that on a sword in the skeleton spawner. We get also wither skeletons spawned in the nether because of it, and then we can get a wither skeleton spawn egg and make a wither skeleton spawner as well to get wither skeleton skulls. I know there are crafting recipes for nether stars. I checked that. There is a chemical recipe that we could do, so we could potentially totally skip that portion of modded that we normally do, but we'll see what happens in the future. I made 4 lumium blend, and we can only turn it into lumium ingots in the smeltery right now. We need the induction smelter for us to be able to turn it into ingots directly with a machine. So we're gonna wait on that. And in here, I'm smelting a bit of bricks, because we need 2 of those to make ourselves a redstone furnace here. We are going to need a few more machine frames, so we're going to need to make more scandium ingots and also more indium ingots. So I'm going to get those going by getting some diorite made, and also I think we can use cyan antimatter and yellow antimatter too. We can now make the induction smelter and also the redstone furnace. If I make another one of these coils, I'm going to make just a couple here so we have them on stock. There we go. We completed the induction smelter quest. We get 64 sand and 10 task screens. Okay. And we need now to make 48 steel ingots for this. And to submit 10 million FE, we're going to use the task screen, I believe. You set it to the task and then you can pump in power and pump in water as well. So the next step here is either the Aqueous accumulator or the fluid pump. I think the Aqueous accumulator is the simple choice. We need to make a few more manganese and osmium ingots, which shouldn't be too difficult to do. But yeah, we are progressing steadily here. So the induction smelter, you're gonna pop in right here. We can disable all of that. No, we can disable that guy. And we're getting really, really cramped with our machines. And I need to probably do some cleanup in between episodes is what I was trying to say. Do I have any more space for power? Output on top. Nope, that's input. Output. There we go. All of the things hooked up and connected. Oh, this is so weird. All right, so in the induction smelter, we can use, I believe, to make steel ingots. Ingot. We need to make, I believe, pulverized charcoal. Yeah, we need 4 of that and a stack of iron. So we could also probably use coal, I think, since we have a bunch of that in here. 1, 2, and then let's turn a little bit of this into more coal. So we need 4 stacks of that, and then also a stack of iron ingots. So we're just gonna toss the coal here to get processed into pulverized coal, and then we can toss that with the iron in here to make the steel ingots. We can now make ourselves an aqueous accumulator, and also I made a portable tank. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna grab our bucket that went somewhere, possibly in here. Yeah, there it is. We can just grab a little bit of this. We're gonna go behind here. We're gonna set up, actually, you know what we're gonna do? Have a better plan. We're gonna remove these, and then we're gonna just set up the aqueous accumulator like this in the middle here. And we can fill in this, and then we can place a water bucket there and a water bucket there. So we have full-on water buckets all around. That guy is filled with water. We can then put a portable tank on top, and that should eventually fill up with 20 buckets of water, which we can possibly, hold on, fluid duct. And we just pump this directly into here with a servo. Grab both, and let's grab duct. Actually, we're just gonna grab a hopper. We have those, and the chest. Can I do this? Is this a thing? So if we break you, put down a chesticle, put down a hopper. Let me go water, thank you. And fluid duct. Servo. Aha! We can make mineral salt. All the way. Cool. And what we're actually gonna do, instead of a chest, we can put down a drawer. If we have a basic one, we do. One from dark oak still. So we can just break this guy and place you down, and we should get a bunch of mineral salt in here eventually. This is doing its thing. We could potentially do multiple of these evaporators, but if I just sit here, it's gonna do its thing, and eventually we're gonna have a bunch of mineral salt, which was used to make a lot of good stuff here. Mainly, I think, potassium chloride or lithium, something, I don't remember. Doesn't really matter. But we have it now, which is cool. So that is kind of quick and easy automation. I totally set myself too big of a goal for today, so I apologize for getting your hopes up in the beginning of the episode of what everything we're gonna get done, because we're pretty much at the end of the episode. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm hoping you enjoyed today's episode, even though it was a little bit of a weird one. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button, and you can also subscribe to get notified of when new videos go live. And you can also support me on Patreon as well if you want. And I will see you all in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye bye.